else would you know Jesus is real if you don't have personal experience? Why would I just want to
I
hear somebody else's
I
story
don't
and then
I
and then
don't I
say,
don't I don't have a problem with personal experience. My issue is what do you attribute that personal experience to? That's number one. And number
mm-hmm,
two, anybody from any religion can say they have personal experience because
that is true.
you can say that you have your personal experience with Jesus, and the Hindu say they have personal experience with Vishnu. Which one of you
That's
should I
true.
believe?
And actually, that is true, bro. And I'm gonna keep it real. Like that is a good question. Which one should you believe? If he say he had his experience over here, and I'm saying I got my experience over here, which experience really is reliable to see? What? How could we? And that is a good question. I ain't gonna lie. I'm asking God that tonight, but that's a good question.
Alrighty, Angel, is that your name?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, man. It's your time to shine because you were commenting a lot. I did see them, but I don't really read them. But all right, Angel. So, do you believe in any type of a God that created a hell that's torture?
Yeah.
Okay, and will I go there for not believing in that same God?
Yeah.
All right. Why do I deserve torture?
Now, you have to understand that we all sin. So if I do something that corrupts my soul, then in conclusion, I have to have a judge in the courtroom judging me. So, you know what I'm saying? Like the other guest was explaining to you, like God sent Jesus Christ so we can be looked at perfect. But if we never had Jesus Christ, we'll be looked at as our sin, which means we deserve because we messed up. So you have to take accountability and say, bro, I messed up. I did something that I wasn't supposed to do. My father told me to do this, and I did the opposite of what he told me to do. So therefore, I got to rest in what I've made. But he's so just that we're not in that torturous place right now. We get a redemption. So I get what you're saying, but look at the redemption you get. Look at the accountability that you look at a lot of things. Look at how God actually handled it, bro. He actually is more merciful than you may perceive. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the grace he's actually showing. What he could have did plus what he did do. You know what I'm saying? I see what you're saying, but you just gotta look at that part. The what he could have did.
Okay, I don't see any of that. But here's what I would say. Number one, I have no reason to believe that any of that is true, right? But the second thing that I would say is that this doesn't really answer the question. I know that if we give you the benefit of the doubt that this God does exist, right? That doesn't show why we deserve to be tortured, right? Because like we can do something wrong, right? Like me lying to my little sister about liking her friends or something like that. That would be wrong, right? But do I deserve to be tortured for that? You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make any sense of like we're going to be tortured for finite crimes, things that are very, very finite, and not only that, tortured for not believing in something that we have no evidence of.
And
Like for
I
example,
get that. I
yeah,
get what you're saying, bro. I
like
get. I really do. Yeah.
like for example, if I were to tell you, like the last example I gave, if I were to tell you that I have $10 million in Nassau and you don't believe me, and I take out a pew pew and say you better believe me or I'm gonna shoot out your foot, that's gonna sound very, very crazy, right? So it's like it's the same thing here. Why why
Really not.
why why torture me for something that I have no proof to believe?
See, and the thing is, it's like you have to understand how God. You look at sin as little because we do it, and it's like it's normal to us. But you have to understand how a holy God looks at sin and looks at it in your heart. So if He's looking at you and He sees that seed of sin in your heart, you can't really get mad at Him for because you did it to your heart. He never put it in your heart. You created that in your heart. So He's letting you rest in that seed that you planted. So what is wrong with God making you rest in that seed that you planted? And it's crazy because he didn't have to send his son. And you don't have to believe that he did it, but I ain't like bro was talking about. I ain't gonna lie, I was depressed until I found Jesus, bro. I ain't gonna lie. People say Christians ain't open-minded, man. To be a Christian, you have to be open-minded because God can care less about how your flesh feel. You gotta deny your flesh. So it's like it's so much. I don't
Well,
know. It's just
there's
I'm
a few
going off
questions.
topic. My bad. I'm going off topic. My
It's all
bad.
good. There's a few questions that I have. Number one, I was depressed within Christianity, and I'm depressed not being in it, right? So, like, obviously, the exact opposite can happen, right? But the second thing that I would say is that I don't know what denying your flesh even means. Even in the context of Christianity, I
Wait,
still didn't
you just
understand what
said
they
you was
meant.
in Christianity.
Yeah,
Wasn't
even
so
when I
how do
was a
you
Christian,
not
I didn't,
know what denying your
because
flesh means?
because it's vague. What does that actually mean?
And that's the thing. So it's like that tells me that when you was a Christian, you had a lack of understanding, and then you're
Okay, please
questioning
answer the
God about.
question. Please answer the question. What does that mean?
Denying your flesh means the lust that we have within. Off my flesh constantly wants lust, constantly wants worldly satisfaction. But denying it is picking up. Is actually looking at what my spirit wants: love, peace, the generous things, joy. It's actually wanting enlightenment and actually wanting to align my heart to the divine
Okay,
source.
here's the problem. Here's the
That's
problem,
denying
Angel.
your flesh.
Here's the problem, Angel.
What's up?
Love, peace, joy, all of that is not Christianity is not necessary for any of it.
I mean, it's
I can
really
have,
not. I ain't gonna lie, I
right,
disagree with you. It's really
exactly,
not. It's really
exactly.
not.
So saying that being Christian means to deny your flesh is kind of BS because any
I
religion or
didn't say
non,
being
right?
Christian is to deny your flesh. You asked me what deny your flesh mean, and I answered
All
you.
right, so
Being Christian is accepting Jesus Christ. Let's
all
go.
right,
Yeah,
I
let's
got
go
you, I
there.
got you, I got
Yeah,
you. But does being Christian make you the quote unquote deny your flesh?
yeah. It requires you to deny your flesh. It don't make
It,
you.
it requires you to deny your flesh, but you can quote unquote deny your flesh without being Christian, can you?
You can, but it won't work the same because you're not. You haven't. You don't. You don't call on Jesus, so you just starving yourself, like you're fasting. So if you fast and you don't call on Jesus, you basically just starving yourself, losing weight. When you call on Jesus, then your soul getting fed because you praying to God. You're denying food and you're denying worldly things, and you praying to the divine source feeding your soul. That's what. That's so. That's what. So it's like if you.
Okay,
I ain't gonna lie. It's
bro,
like
hold on.
Jesus
Wait,
really made.
hold on, because
Christian,
that
nothing
didn't really
without
make any.
Jesus.
Hold on, because that didn't really make any sense.
How?
What I asked was, you don't you need to be Christian to quote unquote, as you say, deny your flesh, which means seeking peace, seeking joy, seeking happiness, seeking compassion. You don't have to be Christian in order to do those things, correct? So if that's the case, that makes Christianity
No, if
unnecessary.
you want true passion and true love, I'm telling you. Like if you if
So
so
you're saying that
that's
I
what I just
can't have,
described to you. I just basically said when you deny your flesh without Jesus, you're basically starving yourself and just losing weight and just yeah. But
but that doesn't
when you
make any.
pray, that's why when you pray and fast, that's a whole different subject because
But
you're feeding your spirit.
hold on. What I'm saying is that that's very, very vague. That doesn't make any sense. What does that mean?
Basically, what I'm saying is fasting is useless if you're not going to pray. In other words.
I'm not fasting though. Like if you're
That's
saying
all.
if I hold on. You're
We're
saying
talking
if
about
I
denying the flesh. That's
right.
one way of denying the flesh.
I
Fasting
got you.
and praying.
I understand. Let me just
Yeah,
say
my
a second.
bad.
All right.
If I
You're saying if I deny my flesh without seeking Jesus, I'm starving myself. What does
literally,
that
yes,
mean?
that means you're literally just going without food and just
No, I'm
losing
not.
weight.
I just ate some chicken 30 minutes ago. What do you mean?
You said if I fast and without praying, I'm starving myself. So that means that basically means that your spirit is
Okay,
not getting fed because you're not praying.
okay, you're talking about
That's what I'm
spiritual.
saying. I'm
You're talking about
saying your spirit
spirits.
is
Okay,
not getting fed because you're
okay,
not praying. That's all I'm
you.
saying. Oh yeah, yeah.
I got you. I
I
understand.
got you. I bet.
What proof do we have of spirits exist?
Actually, I ain't gonna lie. I can't show you in your face that your spirit exists. You want to know that your spirit exists, bro? You can do what I did, bro. Just personally, people say, why do people deny personal experience? Like personal experience is how else would you know Jesus is real if you don't have personal experience? Why would I just want
I
to hear somebody else's
I
story
don't
and then
I
and then
don't I
say,
don't I don't have a problem with personal experience. My issue is what do you attribute that personal experience to? That's number one. And number two, anybody from any religion can say they have personal experience because
that is true.
you can say that you have your personal experience with Jesus, and a Hindu say they have personal experience with Vishnu. Which one of you
That's
should I
true.
believe?
And you know, actually, that is true, bro. And I'm gonna keep it real, like. That is a good question. Which one should you believe? If he say he had his experience over here, and I'm saying I got my experience over here, which experience really is reliable to see? How could we? And that is a good question. I ain't gonna lie. I'm asking God that tonight, but that's a good question. How could you really see that? I want, yeah, but I ain't gonna lie. I really don't know how to answer that question. You asked me another question. I don't know how to answer that. I don't really don't want to know how to tell if what he's seeing is his, and you know what I'm saying. Like, but I just know with my experience, I've asked God, Lord, can I? get a out of body experience because I really want to know if my soul is all these questions. And weeks later, months later, I'm getting an out of body experience. I'm looking at my body. I actually call on Jesus Christ in the out of body experience. Like it's a love that you cannot describe, feel. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So it's like if you was to ask me, how do I know a soul is real? I can only tell you personal experience, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I can't just bring up I can't show you a soul. I'm gonna tell you personal experience.
Okay, so it's just personal experience. So if someone has never had personal experience of a soul, does that mean that the soul doesn't exist?
No, it doesn't mean the soul. It means the soul exists. You just don't know it exists.
Okay,
That's the
so
only thing.
if I've never had so hold on, my personal experience of not having a soul doesn't count, but your personal experience of having a soul does count.
What I'm saying, if you never had an experience of you actually seeing your soul, that don't mean you don't got a soul. It just mean you ain't seen it or you just
Right.
ain't aware of
But
it. That
but
don't
just
mean it
because
don't exist.
right, but just because you've had personal experience doesn't mean that it exists either, does it?
Because I had personal experience, that means I'm aware and I seen that it actually does exist.
And I have personal experience that it doesn't. So which one of us
How
is
do
right?
you how do you have personal experience that it doesn't exist? Explain to me.
Because I've never had personal experience that it did.
But just because you didn't have experience, just because you didn't walk across the street like me doesn't mean that you can't walk across the street. You're basically saying, "Oh, I didn't have it, so it doesn't exist until I have it." What? That's lame to say. Instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm going to actually go try and see what you did, so I see if I have the same impact."
Yeah, I have it.
Actually, just saying
I
something.
did do what you said and didn't have that impact. So what does that mean?
I really don't know what to tell you, bro. I did.
Exactly. So this
I
is the problem. This is the problem, right? We can both do the same thing and get different results. Which one of us is right?
All I'm saying is, if I mean, just because you asked and you didn't receive, that don't mean that you don't have a soul. He just didn't show you at the time.
Right.
He
But
just
what I'm
probably wants
saying
you to
is
be a little more patient.
I
I
got you,
don't know
but just
how you work.
because but what I'm saying is that just because something happened to you, that could just be confirmation bias, right? You already looked for something and you found what you're looking for.
Actually, no, that doesn't make the
Let me give you an example, right? Let me give you this example. Like I said before, that my grandmother was a Haitian voodoo practitioner, right?
Yeah.
She says that if a kid bothers you at school, come to me. I'm gonna put a curse on them, and they're gonna get sick, right? So what happened is that I went to her. I said, "Yeah, a kid was bothering me at school, and guess what? That kid got sick." Right? So does that mean that what she did happened? Like that her curse actually worked?
If the curse did work, why would you want to? It's like, why would you want to just take vengeance and make bruh sick instead of? I don't know. It's
No,
like,
Angel, hold on. I just want you to
I
answer my
mean, okay,
question.
my bad. Yeah, the
So
curse
if
worked.
if
The
what
curse worked. My bad.
yeah, so
I
yeah,
answered your
did the
question.
curse actually work? Like
Well, I guess it did. If bruh did get
okay.
sick and she say I guess it did.
Yes, it did, right? But guess what? We were also 7 years old in the 90s. You know what happened to 7 years old? What happened to a lot of 7-year-olds in the 90s?
What
We
happened
got
to?
we got chicken pox. So how do I know that it was her curse and not chicken pox?
Like bruh said, it was a demon. So yeah.
No,
But you
I don't
said,
think you
how do
actually
you know it's
hold on,
not her curse
hold
and
on.
chicken pox? Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
answer your question.
exactly.
I was finna answer your question. My bad.
Right.
I was reading her
So
comment.
my question. So my question is that in my scenario, we were all 7 years old, and my grandmother said she put a curse on this kid who was bothering me, right? But we're seven in the 90s. We all get chicken pox. So how do I know it was the curse and not chicken pox?
I don't know how you would know that. That's up for you to find out. How would you know that that's the curse and not chicken pox?
Exactly.
It
But that's
depends
my
on the
point.
effects.
That's the point that I'm trying. That's the point that I'm trying to bring up. Hold on, Safa. That's the point that I'm trying to bring to you, right? Like what I'm saying is that if you say that I have experience with a soul because this thing happened, that's kind of confirmation bias. You're already looking for something to happen. That doesn't mean it did.
No, actually, I wasn't looking. That's the craziest part. That week, that same week, I wasn't looking for nothing like that to happen.
Didn't you say that you sought? Didn't you say that you sought God?
Actually, I never said that I saw God. I said I went to God. I never said I seen God. I said
No,
I
I didn't
felt His
say.
presence.
No, I'm not saying that you seen him. When I say sought, that means you
Oh,
went
you
to go
said
look for
saw
him.
it. I thought you
Yeah.
said saw. My bad.
No, sought. That
Oh,
means you went to
saw
go
it.
look for him.
Yeah. I went to go look for him. My bad, bro.
So that that means you are looking for something to happen. Your mind already primed that type. I know, like walking every day, you're not thinking about it, right? But subconsciously, your mind is already looking for something to happen because you said that you sought God. So
But
your subconscious already Your subconscious already prepared you for something to happen. That's
the
confirmation
thing
bias.
the thing that happened though, and the way that it happened is like, that's why it's like, if I could tell you the personal experience, I could break it down in detail of how he did it and all, but it's like, it's kind of pointless, because one, you probably in your mind like, man, that didn't happen. Or two, you probably in your mind that's just the brain chemicals, when actually I was looking at but it's like, how can it be brain chemicals when it's like, I don't know, it's like a lot of stuff that I would say that it was, it's no way to do it. Like, wow, I ain't gonna care. I mean, you can go against it, but I mean,
Yeah,
bro,
our mind can
just,
our minds are incredible. They can do a lot of things because
that's true also.
yeah, there are
But
times
okay, so
I've
let me ask you a question. Why do you, okay, do you believe in a God? Like,
no.
even so, and that's the thing. Say you don't believe in a God, right? So that means that if I didn't believe in a God, that means I have to adjust my mindset to the rules and regulations of this world. If the world says this is good, and my mind's gonna be programmed to think this is good. The world say this bad, my mind gonna be programmed to think this bad. So if the world thought that raping people was right, you yourself probably may think raping people is right, and nobody can tell you otherwise, because this is your worldview. You have no God above you. You have nobody in authority over you, just you. So therefore, it's just that world. I don't know, that worldview just does not make sense to me, to not have I don't know. Like, it's like, because you kind of
That's incorrect.
basing life off of you and just the way you feel,
But what I'm
and
saying is that that's
if I
what
say
I'm
it's
saying
right,
is,
it's right.
hold on, that's incorrect. It's not necessarily what I say is right, therefore is automatically right, right? Well, essentially, yeah, I do think morals for the most part are pretty much subjective, right? But the
Yeah.
thing is, like, I can say the same thing about you, because if your God were to say that if God were to appear to you in a way that you know that it's God that appeared to you, and he says go ahead and torture babies, you would go do it, right?
Actually, and it's crazy, because I ain't gonna care. No, I actually wouldn't, because
So you would disobey God.
no, because that'll show me that that's not God. Because it's crazy, because God wouldn't even tell me to, do in a time like this. God wouldn't tell me to commit such an act like that
In
in
a
a
time
time like.
like this. So that means that God has tortured babies before.
And in a time like those times, it's like we have to look at the mind. Like, it's like God didn't change. He actually didn't. It's just
Okay, so God still wants
the
us to torture babies. Which
situations
one
and
is
the
it?
positions of this person, and
All right,
why and what position he
Angel,
was
hold on,
like.
Angel, listen. Okay, so I asked you, if God were to come to you in a way that you know that's God and ask you to torture babies, you wouldn't do it because you
Dude, he
said that you
wouldn't
hold on,
ask me. He
Angel,
wouldn't
wait,
tell me.
hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, my
You
bad.
said that he wouldn't ask that because I know that's not God, but then you also tacitly admitted that he has done stuff like that before.
He didn't do it, and he didn't do it just cause. You act like he did it just, oh, I'm finna just torture them for no reason. It's like that's the thing about a lot of people. Y'all look at God and y'all just, oh,
Okay, so
God
there's a
did
reason
this.
to
But
torture
okay,
babies.
can we actually read the Bible,
All right,
acknowledge the fact that
Angel, hold
we
on,
were wrong in the
Slow down,
situation,
Agent,
and
slow down.
yeah.
All right, so because you're going a mile a minute, slow down and actually engage, please. So you're saying that there's a reason to torture babies?
I'm not saying it's a reason to torture babies. I'm just
Okay,
saying in the
so why?
predicament that
So
I'm
why
trying
did
to
God?
answer you, dude.
God?
I'm trying to answer you.
You're saying that's not a reason to torture babies. That's fine. My question is, why did God torture a baby in David's baby in the Old Testament? Then
And I was trying to answer you. And it's because, first of all, it's like, oh, why did God do this? Let's see, what did David do? How about I ask you that? What did David do? Who was David to God? And then what did David do? And then hold on,
David.
did David know better or not? And let's
Hold on,
ask
wait,
these
hold
questions
on.
before you ask me your question. Answer mine.
Angel. I know what David did. He slept with Bathsheba. The problem is that was David's sin, not the baby's. So why did the baby get tortured because David did something?
I don't know. Ask God. But the thing is, it's like if you knew the answer, you'll be like, oh, but you looking on the outside in, you like, oh God, why you do this? And not knowing the actual reason of why he did it, it's like, dang.
But do
And you
you know
really
the answer?
don't know. If I don't, I know my God to know that he's just enough to have an answer for the question. Just because you can come at me and I don't have an answer, I know that he do. So you
Okay,
can
so
come at me, but
can you
But
ask
ask?
even
him.
Can
if
you
he
ask him?
did have an
Can you go?
answer,
Hold on, Chaz.
you're not going to believe him. Even if
Hold
he
on,
did
Chess.
have an
Hold on,
answer,
Chess.
Yeah,
you're
even
not
if
going to
I did
believe him.
have an answer,
Hold
you
on,
weren't gonna
Chess.
believe me.
No, it's
That's
not.
crazy.
It's
Even
not.
if
It's
I
not.
did
Hold on.
have
Hold on.
an
Hold on.
answer, you wouldn't
I didn't.
believe me. I'm so happy he said
Hold
that.
on. Wait. Hey, Angel. Who said? Angel. Let me ask you a question. Did you know me before you got on this panel?
No, sir, I didn't.
So you had no idea my existence, correct?
No, sir. I
So
can't
how can
assume
you?
that you are. Yeah.
So how can you
You right.
assume something like that without knowing who I am?
You're right. I can't assume. I can't assume that I
Yeah.
wouldn't, but that you weren't. My bad.
That's
My apologies. I ain't gonna lie. My
exact.
apologies, bro.
Okay,
But
great. So, like, what I'm saying is that I understand that you don't have the answer, right? Can you
yeah.
ask God for that answer?
I actually could ask God. So I could ask. So when I asked God, why did you unalive David's baby? Because the baby didn't commit no sin, but David was wrong for what he did. So I like to know, why did you unalive the baby? Was it a punishment for David because he wasn't supposed to have the baby with that woman? Why was it, God? What was it? This was it that? But it's like, if I was to give you the answer, it's not gonna be the answer you're looking for. So therefore, it's like sometimes us as humans, it's not the answer we're looking for. It's not what we want to hear, bro. So I can give you the answer, and it could be the right answer, but if it's not what you want to hear, are you gonna take it as the right answer? Because in life, it's some things. It's like, since we don't want to hear it, we just don't take it as the right answer. So
It
how would you
does.
know it's the right answer? Like, how
It.
would you know it's the right answer? If it sounds
I
right to you, or what?
no, I actually wouldn't. The only way that we would know the right answer if God Himself came down and told us. That's the only way we would know the right answer.
Nope,
But
that's
apparently
wrong.
He's not. Why is that wrong? Because
Because it's questions
hold
in the Bible that people.
I
A lot
got
of.
you. Right, I
Okay.
got you. I got you. Listen.
There is an answer.
The only way that we would actually know is the answer is if God came down to tell us the answer. And the reason why that is
False.
because if He told you, you still have a human mind that can filter it through your own bias. Correct?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Dumber it down. You got a human
No.
mind that can filter it
What?
through your own bias.
Right. So that means that if he told you something, you may have a bias, correct? Because you're saying that it might not be the answer that we want to hear. The same applies to you. So just because
Actually, that is
hold on, wait,
true.
hold on,
That's
yeah,
true. That's
the
true.
same the same applies to you. So just because you will hear the right answer doesn't mean that you will know that it's right. So that means that he needs to come down himself and tell us.
Oh,
Otherwise, we
that's
will never
false,
know.
because it's a lot of times that a lot of people ask God a question and He actually gave them the answer
And how do
without
we know
having
they're
to
telling
walk
us?
literally down here
And
tell us.
how do we know that they're telling us the truth? And who was it?
Okay, so basically, for example, Solomon, for example, you see how much women he had. Let's see. So we know from Solomon that he had a lust problem. So
Appreciate Dr. Joe.
basically, we knew Solomon was telling the truth because his experiences lead to what's happening right now. So everything that Solomon said, oh, this woman gonna do this, don't fall into her eyes. We still fall into woman's eyes these days. That's how we know that God told Solomon the truth, because we still doing it in these days. God,
Wait, but
so it's like,
but the songs of Solomon are what Solomon wrote because he was just a wise guy. How do we know it was God that gave him those answers?
where else did he get his wisdom from? He said he got it from God.
Solomon said you got it from God.
Solomon was a man of God according to the Bible.
Yeah, so Solomon.
So
Yeah,
it's like, where else did he get it from?
I got you. I got you. How do you know he told the truth when he wrote that down?
Because we're still seeing it today. How do you know he told a lie? What is it? Well, so to pick
I
out,
don't know if he.
pick
I
out,
don't know
pick
if he
out to
told.
me a
Hold on.
scripture that
I don't know.
Solomon had some wisdom in, and then show me a lie that is not happening.
Oh, I haven't read Song of Solomon for a while, but I can't.
And
Honestly,
that's
I don't. Hold on. I honestly can't pick one out. But what I'm saying is that just because there are proverbs that exist hundreds or thousands of years ago doesn't mean that it's actually the truth. Because again, there was again during the Haitian Revolution, there was a voodoo priest that say that if we turn away from our African ancestors, then black people will be cursed. And if we look at the state of black people today, it's not very good, is it?
So basically,
So
you
does that
saying,
mean
just as I tell
does that
these
mean hold on,
people-
wait, listen. Does
Oh,
that
my
mean that voodoo is true?
Why do
Voodoo
you
may
keep
be
bringing
true,
up
but in
so
the
much
wrong
widow
ways.
and so
That means
much
it's true in the
person?
wrong ways. Look, see, and it's crazy because it's proven that it's true in the wrong ways. So if I tell you, hey, bro, don't go rob this gas station over there, and you choose to go rob this gas station, and then I'm telling you what's gonna happen to you, and it happens to you. Did I tell you the truth or a lie? I'm explaining what's gonna happen to you.
You told me the
And
truth,
I
exactly.
told you the truth. So what did Solomon do? So,
So-
was
so-
Solomon a man of God or what? Because Solomon
All right,
told
now,
the truth about what's
I'm not.
still
hold on.
happening.
Angel,
David
listen to what I'm
told the
saying.
truth. All these
Angel,
people told the truth. It's
Angel,
still going on.
Angel, slow down, bro. Slow down.
My bad. My bad. I'm going too
Relax.
fast. My bad.
Like, I know you're just going a mile a minute. You have to actually engage, bro. Slow down. What I'm saying is this, right? I'm not doubting that Solomon or David could have wrote wise words. That doesn't mean that God exists just because they said he does.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna take the people that I'm not gonna believe somebody who barely read the Bible and kind of
I didn't I didn't say I barely read
barely.
the Bible. I said I haven't read Song of Solomon for a while. That doesn't mean I barely
Well,
read the
I'm
Bible.
still not. I'm gonna agree with the person who actually walked the experience, talk the talk, talk to that divine person,
But you don't
read
know.
down. Hold
Okay,
on, I'm listening. Let me
Angel.
finish. Let me finish.
I'm gonna
He
let you finish.
read down
I just
his
gotta ask you. I just gotta ask you one last
experiences.
question. I just gotta ask you one last question. How do you know that Solomon actually wrote with walk with God? How do you know that?
What other man that had 1,000? If I had a
No, no,
thousand
no.
wives, hold on.
How do
I'm
you
trying to
know
answer
that?
you, bro.
How do you know?
You don't want me to answer you the way
But
the way you
no,
want
no,
me
but
to answer you how
it's
you
not.
want me to answer
Hold on,
you.
wait.
Let
It's
me
not.
answer how I want to
No, no,
answer.
no. Angel, listen to my question. Answer my question.
I'm listening, and you
Listen
said,
to my
"How do I
question.
know that Solomon walked with God?" And I'm telling you, it's because the way that he lived. If a person, what man would put in the
Great. The way that
Bible?
he lived.
What man would
Okay,
put
so
in the
cool.
Bible sleep
Great.
with
So the way
one
that he
wife,
lived.
and then
That's
first
fine.
you have
That's fine.
1,000?
That's
Like
fine.
you
That's
could
fine.
tell he
The
was
way that he lived.
convicted. Let's be for real.
The way that he lived. That's fine. Okay. So Solomon had 700 wives. So does that mean that if I go to Bishop Magic Don Juan, who's a pimp over in California, that has 40 women, hold on, that has 40 women working for him, does that mean that he also walks with God?
Actually, that he may could walk with God. He just got a lust problem, and God's gonna get him off of that, like he got Solomon off of that. And what I'm
All
trying to
right. He didn't because Solomon still died with lost 700 wives. All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and keep it going.